So, Annette, what did you have for breakfast?
I had the same as Graham. I had a smoothie with berries in it and other fruit. And
What kind of other fruit?
The other fruit, banana, apple, orange.
Do you make these things up yourself, or do you use a recipe?
Oh, never use a recipe. We kind of look around, see what we've got and put it in and hope that it will be a good combination. And most of the time it is.
All right. What do you do when it doesn't taste nice?
Sweeten it a little bit with something.
Ah, what would you use?
Well, we always sweeten it anyway with some dates, so most of the time it does work. And,
Yes.
and if it really is a little bit too bitter, which it mostly isn't, but it has been on occasion, we just put some something like coconut blossom nectar in it or some kind of sweetener like that.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
It is.
Oh, really nice. Now, Graham, how long have you been a vegetarian?
Around about probably 5-6 years, I would say.
Okay, and what about you, Annette?
It's similar for vegetarian. I've been not eating dairy for much longer, but the full vegetarian, yes, about the same.
All right.
Because we were doing it together, really.
Right. And what was it that made you give up meat?
Gosh, it's an interesting question, and we've thought about this because it wasn't an overnight thing. We never did it overnight. It's been a gradual process, and it's been a combination of factors, really. Yeah. I would say, in all honesty, it started with health considerations. We just realised that we were eating more plants and enjoying eating more plant-based foods. Yeah. And the more we did that, the more we were realising this is actually ideal for all sorts of other situations. Well, situations, not quite the right word, but the planet, the environmental considerations, looking at how mass-produced animals are treated made us consider maybe that we should perhaps edge away from that as well. Yeah. So a few different things came together at the same time or over that process.
Right. Okay. And how did you give up meat? How did you actually go through the process of it?
I found that it was a case of just having less and less, because it became that we weren't eating any kind of red meat or traditionally reared meat, and it was just then fish and things like salmon.
We went through we did go briefly through the no red meat, we'll have chicken phase. That didn't last very long, but the fish bit did for quite a while.
Yeah, the fish bit did, because I was thinking, at least I want to keep having some meat. It was kind of almost like, I don't want to completely give it up. And then it just became the point where I think the thing that put us off at the end was the plastics in the water.
Yeah.
Right.
And thinking about the plastics that we've heard about are ingested by the fish, and all the heavy metals, mercury, things like that. I thought, tell you what, we can do without this.
Right.
And it was virtually an overnight thing, really. It just seemed, it hasn't been an issue at all.
Yeah. And what kind of things do you eat now?
Well,
where do we start?
We've been eating a lot of salads. That's a lot easier to do in the summer perhaps than the winter, but we've really, really varied it, and we've found that you can do a lot with salads. I think it's an unfortunate word because it conjures up something different for different people, but you can do some fabulous things with salad. Great taste, varied textures.
What kind of fabulous things?
Well, it depends what kind of mood you're in. And we've done quite a lot of fruity salads throughout the summer because they're really water filled and hydrate you very well. And so they've often got a sweetness to them, but we've done some really savoury ones as well with like mustard dressings, and we really do vary our dressings. That's where we put a lot of the emphasis, and we include nuts in some of the dressings. We do beans as well sometimes. Some of our food we do part cooked, so even the salad might have potatoes in it, steamed potatoes, maybe steamed beans, something like that. And then it's adding the dressing that fits those ingredients, and it's really, really good. And we've expanded it; they get better and bigger, and we're enjoying them ever more.
I think one of the things as well that we don't do is we don't kind of replicate what we feel we're missing by not having meat. So we're not like trying to, we don't go out and like buy a processed food that's made to look like chicken or fish. We just. That's not of interest to us. It's about just actually making fresh food, whole foods, and just making it exciting through the dressings, and that's it really.
And we do use nuts, I suppose, where traditionally meat might be used. I did something last night with like a cannelloni, and I used walnuts as the meat in with the sauce that I'd used, and that it does give a slightly meaty texture, I suppose. Yeah. But that's because I enjoy eating that rather than I wanted something that tasted like meat.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That all sounds really delicious and really varied, really amazing. What about puddings?
That's the best question of all, because obviously there's no meat involved in puddings, but that was my biggest problem, having to give up dairy almost 20 years ago.
Yes.
I couldn't have desserts anymore. I couldn't go out and have desserts, and very often I was choosing a salad for my main course that had no dairy in it, because even that was a bit of a challenge. And then it was a case of, what do you want for dessert? Oh, well, fruit salad. And it's not really good enough. And so that's something we've both got really good at. We create fabulous desserts that really do excite us. Anything from cheesecakes, chocolate brownies, mousse made with avocado, and we do
The cheesecakes, of course, aren't made with cheese.
They're not. No,
They're made with things like cashew nuts,
nuts,
avocado, and things like that.
Coconuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Giving up dairy is a really big thing. What do you have in your tea?
I don't drink tea anymore, so that was never a problem for me. More of an issue for you.
Yeah, for me, it's I'll either have like black coffee. I do still like milk in tea though, and I tend to use soy milk, which I know it's not for everyone, and there are still, I think, some questions about soya, but I make sure it's a nice organic soya, European grown soya beans. But I could easily change to something else if I really wanted to, like oat milk. But it's just a preference. The soya I get suits me. So,
What have been the